It is a hadith of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, that Hazrat Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is reported to have stated that the beloved Messenger, peace be upon him, stated, Laysa min abdin yusalli alayya illa balagani sawtuhu haysukana. That whosoever a person, wherever he may be, when he recites durood upon me, I myself listen to the recitation of that durood sharif. So that is an undeniable honor and blessing which the Muslims have been granted by Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, an undeniable reward, an unprecedented one, that the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, stated in explicit terms that whosoever a person, wherever he may be, when he recites Darood upon me, I myself listen to the recitation of that Darood Sharif. So while having that in contemplation, let us then recite Darood Sharif on the beloved Messenger, peace be upon him, once again. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Sayyidi ya Rasulallah وعلى آلك وصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. Today once again we sit and record our attendance in this blessed gathering of Gyarvi Sharif. And it goes without saying that this Gyarvi Sharif records its attendance in the blessed month of Rabiul Awwal Sharif. So the blessed verse of the Holy Quran, sacred Quran, the majestic and divine book of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, the Holy Quran, the blessed verse which I just recited a while ago, and I wish to reiterate at this instance, that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala states in the Holy Quran, Ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Verily, no doubt, there is no fear nor any grief upon the friends of Allah. So once again in this gathering, I wish to contemplate on the accounts of the friends of Allah. The accounts, the narrations, the annals of history which have recorded them very rightfully. Imam Ghazali alayhi rahmah would say that the saints of Allah, these awliya Allah, they are called the people of true beingness. And these saints of Allah, they impress the people of the world by their teachings, by their love that they hold for the divine, and by their art. And their teachings and love show the purity of the heart and the soul. So these saints of Allah, as per Imam Ghazali, they were the ones whose hearts were pure from the worldly desires. As per Imam Ghazali, these saints were the ones, and who are the ones that their soul and their spirit, they are also free from the worldly desires which a man is accustomed to. So these saints of Allah are those spiritual guides who aspire for closer union with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And these awliya Allah are the ones who enlighten the society. They are the ones who enlighten the society to abstain from spitefulness, barbarism, bigotry and discrepancies that there are in this world. And they teach the Muslim Ummah, and they teach mankind how to abstain from the worldly desires, and how to engage in constant remembrance of Allah for the sake and for the pleasure of Allah. And when we resort to perhaps enumerating the accounts of these awliya, there is one saint who goes without mention. There is one saint who has to be mentioned, and that is the leader of saints, the sovereign of saints, the mystic of Allah, the gnostic of Allah, the beloved of Allah, the beloved of all, the unrivaled saint, the unprecedented saint, the leader of saints, the sovereign of saints, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala. Accounts of worship of Hazur Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala were undeniably, they were unprecedented, they were unrivaled. So there was this one time that Hazur Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala, he was engaged in constant worship and remembrance of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala when a cloud would appear around him. When a cloud would appear around him and the cloud would say, "O Abdul Qadir, O Abdul Qadir, I am but your God. O Abdul Qadir, I am but your God, and I hereby declare that you do not need to engage in the offering of first prayers anymore, and that the impermissible has been made permissible on you." The impermissible has been made permissible for you. Now Hazur Ghaus-e Azam, a man of God, a beloved of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, Hazur Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala, when he witnessed that there is this cloud who has come before him, and he says that I am God, and that what was impermissible is now made permissible for you, and that you're not expected to offer the first prayers anymore. Hazur Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala, he at once recalled that the impermissible acts were not made permissible even for the prophets of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, let alone. So why for him, a saint of Allah, could those impermissible acts be made permissible? So thereupon, right there and then, Hazur Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala recited La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and the cloud would at once disappear and the Saturn would appear. And then the Saturn would say, there is no power. Hazur Ghaus-e Azam, the one stated La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, there is no power nor strength except by Allah. The Saturn appeared and he stated, "O Abdul Qadir, your knowledge today saved you." To that Hazur Ghaus-e Azam replied, "No. Nay, it is not my knowledge which saved me, but it is the grace of Allah which saved me. It is the fazl of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala which saved me." So Hazur Ghaus-e Azam is recounted to have stated, "Darastul ilma hatta sirtu qutban wa niltu saada min mawla al-mawali." I acquired knowledge till I became the Qutb, the cardinal pole. And I attained this good luck through the great Lord that there is. So his degree and extent of knowledge remains unfathomable and incomprehensible. People of today claiming that he didn't work or endeavor towards the tenets of Islam. So Ibn Qayyim Jawzi, he was present in that gathering when Hazur Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani was engaged in addressing the public, and he was interpreting the Holy Quran. He was submitting his interpretations over the Quranic exegesis, and it was at that time that Ibn Qayyim Jawzi also recounts that Hazur Ghaus-e Azam, he put forth 11 different interpretations of the Holy Quran, and then he moved forward from there on, and until the moment that he reached 40 interpretations of one single verse of the Holy Quran. Ibn Qayyim Jawzi, it has been recorded in the books that he would tear off his shirt and he would scream that what kind of a divine knowledge is this? That this person, this saint of Allah, presents the interpretation of one single verse of the Holy Quran from 40 different perspectives. So that is the unfathomable knowledge and incomprehensible knowledge of a saint of Allah, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So he was, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, he was asked by many saints of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to preach in the public. One such saint was Khwaja Hazrat Yusuf Ali Hamdani. He advised Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu to start preaching the public. But Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, out of shyness, he was unwilling and he would not teach the public present in Baghdad Sharif. However, on the 16th of Shawwal, the Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was blessed with the vision of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, in a dream. And the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, inquired of him, "O Abdul Qadir, why do you not speak?" Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam replied, "O Prophet of Allah, I am but a Persian. How can I speak the eloquent language of Baghdad, Arabic?" To that, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, instructed Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, "O Abdul Qadir, open your mouth at once." And then Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, he opened his mouth, and the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, spat 7 times into his mouth, and then advised him to go and address the mankind and invite them to the path of God. Following that, Hazrat Ali Karamullah Wajal Kareem would arrive and spat in his mouth 6 times. So on account of the miraculous effect of the saliva of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and Hazrat Ali Karamullah Wajal Kareem, an unfathomable ocean of divine knowledge let flow. And it was open to his innermost heart of Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And it was after this that the eloquent and loud sound words and phrases began to flow from the blessed mouth of Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So today we are once again together in the blessed gathering which has been dedicated, which was started off by my father, my mentor, my spiritual guide, my access, my direction, Sayyidi Babajan Shaykh Muhammad Mohsin Yusufi. He started off this gathering, a gathering which was dedicated to the leader of saints, the gnostic of Allah, the beloved of Allah, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So it is in this gathering that we sit together in the company of a saint of Allah, for a saint of Allah. We sit in the company and we sit in a gathering which in itself is presided over by a saint of Allah, dedicated towards a saint of Allah. And therefore, Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, Rahmatullah alayhi, is reported to have stated, "Yak zamana sohbat baoliya. Yak zamana sohbat baoliya. Behtara sad swalatat bereya." Sitting in the company of a saint is better than the constant worship of 1,000 years. There was once a lady who found Pablo Picasso in a street. Now, Pablo Picasso was one of the biggest painters that the annals of history has ever recorded. Pablo Picasso. Now, this person, he would make paintings at that, and those paintings would amount to millions of dollars. This person, Pablo Picasso, one of the biggest painters that this world has ever seen. Now, what happened was this lady found Pablo Picasso going on in the street, and she was a fan of Picasso. And thereupon she approached Picasso and she asked Pablo Picasso to make a painting for him. Now, Picasso would not make a painting for him, but the lady was persistent and she was insisting Picasso to engage and to make a painting for him, perhaps a small painting. Upon constant insistence by the lady, Picasso took out a small page and then he took out a pen from his pocket and Picasso started making a painting. He made a small painting for the lady, and then after giving the painting to the lady, he said, "Go on, this is your painting, and let me assure you, this painting which I just made in 10 minutes, it will garner you millions of dollars." The lady was surprised. She thought to herself, how is it possible? How is it possible that this person makes a painting, a small painting, in 10 minutes, and then he claims that the painting would fetch him millions of dollars? Anyhow, the lady took the painting from Picasso and went to the market, only to find out that the painting was made by such an exceptional painter that this small painting made in a few minutes would actually fetch him millions of dollars. The lady would then go back to Picasso, and the lady would then say to Picasso that if your painting, which you made in a mere span of only 10 minutes, and if that painting can fetch me millions of dollars, I wish to become a pupil of yours. I wish to become a student of yours. Teach me so that I can spend a few hours painting in a day and I could also fetch $1 million. Now Picasso replied that this painting which I made in 10 minutes, it took me 30 years to learn and master. So this small painting of 10 minutes or perhaps 5-6 minutes, which I made for you now and it fetched millions of dollars for you, it took me 30 years to master this 10 minutes of painting. Likewise, one word from a spiritual teacher, one word from a spiritual teacher is better than constant hard work and persistence that you go on for many years and decades therefrom. So this is one word, and then pertinently, the company of these saints and the words uttered by these saints. One cannot enumerate the value of these words which we gather from these blessed gatherings. If a worldly painter can have such skills that a 10-minute work of his could help the lady in garnering millions of dollars, how blessed would that gathering be, and how blessed would those small words or a few words from a saint of Allah be, which one would take heed from while in his company. So that is why Maulana Rumi stated, Yak zamana sohbat baoliya behtara sad salatat bereya. Sitting in the company of a saint is better than the constant worship of 1,000 years. And not only the layman, even the prophets of Allah have desired the company of these saints of Allah. Even the prophets of Allah have prayed for the company and sohbat of these saints of Allah. And we have this recorded, whereby Hazrat Musa alayhi salam would wish and he would desire to have a meeting with the saint of Allah, Hazrat Khizr alayhi salam. So it is in that perspective that we come to the conclusion that we must adopt the sohbat and the company of these saints of Allah. The wafts of the perfume that they wear, they ensure that they go through all of you as well.